So here we've got a camera that you may have seen before if you've watched the HNC Canon camera video, or you might see a camera that looks quite similar to it. This is a 6D camera. This camera is shared between the HNC and the HND group, although the setup of this camera is identical to the 60D and the 80D. So if you've already watched that video, you probably won't need to watch this one. So as I've said, this is a fairly identical camera, but this is another step up. This camera here is a full frame camera to start with. The processor in it is extremely fast, the computer is extremely fast. So for those of you that don't know how to use this camera, let's get into the details of it, shall we? Alright, so as I've already said, if you've already used the 80D or the 60D, you'll sort of know how this camera works. This is the 80D that I have for comparison. As you'll see, they are essentially identical. So if you know how to work that, good. You don't need to watch this, you can just go out with the camera, okay? If not, then stick around and I'll try and give you a quick tutorial. Alright, you know how to work a lens, I'm not going to bore you with that. You know how to take a shot. This is to change your shutter speed. I'm going to turn the camera on now. Let's change your shutter speed. This button here is your autofocus operation. This drive button here changes your shot mode if you're taking one shot, if you're going to take continuous shots, if you're going to take a time shot. This changes your ISO, this is your meter mode, and this is a backlight for this little panel here if you're working in the dark. This little dial here you should already be familiar with through the Canon cameras that you've used throughout HNC and HND, or NQ as well, sorry. The only difference is there's no film record button here, and also to move it, to adjust it, you need to press a little button in the centre and then turn. Okay. So the camera's already turned on, and if you see, I'm going to work from left and work my way around. Menu if you want to format your card, or if you want to adjust any fine settings within the camera. Alright, but one thing you'll notice as well is this is a set LCD screen. It does not flip out, you can't change rotation of it obviously. If you turn the camera on and you see nothing on the screen, press this info button just to see if anything comes up. So that should be information about the camera. Press it again, you've got your little bubble meter, and once more you've got more settings. This autofocus on button essentially focuses the camera for you. It is the same thing as half pressing your shot button. This little diamond button here, press and hold that, and if you move this, it will change your f-stop rather than your shutter speed. Toggle that on to change your f-stop, let it go, and you'll change your shutter speed. Press and hold this button here and it will change your focus settings on the camera, your automatic focus settings on the camera, where you can tell the camera where to focus on, what subject to focus on to be in the left hand side, right hand side. This little Q button here lets you get into your settings and fine tune anything in there. That's your playback. Obviously there's no camera and there's no SD card inserted, so there's nothing on the camera. And this here lets you zoom in to any images that you've took or any footage. It will pause the footage and let you zoom in. If you do not want to use this toggled button up here to change your f-stop, you could alternatively rotate this dial down here. And this is just the 4-point panel to change any settings and an OK in the centre. This lock button here, if you switch that on, it locks this dial so it can't change any settings. And in here you've got a little trash button. And that is an extremely quick going over of this camera. What?
You forgot the record.
Oh, I forgot to do the record. Press this button to record. You've got 2 settings here. Okay, you've got photography mode and you've got film mode. Okay, in photography mode, it's just same as a normal DSLR. You press that button there to take a shot once it's focused. If you're wanting to record some footage, make sure that's in film and you press this center button here. It's going to come up saying no SD card inserted, but you press that to start and stop filming. If you try and press this button while filming, it will take a screenshot and it'll also stop recording as well, I'm sure, I think, maybe, perhaps, don't know. So, yeah, well remembered. Put that back, there we are. Cool. So yeah, that covers it for this camera. As you'll be able to tell, if you've already used a 60D or an 80D, or if you've watched that video that I done, this camera is quite identical. So if you have already used those cameras in the past or watched the video, this will be very easy to pick up. Alright, so next I'm going to go on to some more of the interesting equipment that's shared between the HNCs and the HNDs.